Hi everyone and welcome back to Twins and Stitches. Today I'll be showing you how to make this filled granny square. To start our granny square, we will make a slip knot. To do this, we place our yarn in front of our first 4 fingers, split open your fingers, wrap the yarn around and through. This is our tail end. Flip your fingers over, part your first 2 fingers, reach in, grab the first yarn and pull up, and grab in, pull the next one up. We have this almost 8 configuration. We tighten our knot, and we then make it smaller by pulling on our tail end. We then put our slip knot on to our hook and just tighten it on. This is the start of our granny square. To make our granny square, we first chain 4 stitches. So that's 1. To chain, you yarn over and pull through the current stitch on the hook. That's 2, 3, 4. We then slip stitch into our first stitch from our hook. That is our first V. We then yarn over, go through, and simply bring the first loop under the second. That is our slip stitch. We then chain 3 more stitches. 1, 2, 3. We're now going to insert this into the middle of our cluster, basically of these stitches here. We will see there's a hole here. We do not go into this hole. We go into the central hole. So if you sort of tear apart or break apart a bit your work, you see there's a hole right here in the center. This hole here. That hole right there is where we put in our stitch. And what we're going to put in, so it's this one here, is 2 double crochets. So let's do it. How to do a double crochet is we yarn over. So we put yarn onto our hook, go into the hole. We then yarn over and go through this first sort of group of stitches, and then we have 3 loops on our hook. We yarn over, go through the first 2, and we yarn over and go through the next 2. Let's do that again. We yarn over, go into our hole. We yarn over, go through the first group of stitches, yarn over through the first 2 loops, yarn over through the next 2. Amazing. Now what we do is we chain 2. And now we put 3 double crochets into that same hole. So let's do it. Remember, this is our hole, right? We go in, yarn over through, yarn over first 2 loops. This one I split the thread, you just go under, that's fine. Yarn over again. Now our second double crochet, yarn over, go in the hole, yarn over through that cluster, yarn over through the first 2 loops and the last 2, yarn over through the first 2 loops and then the second 2. And we'll repeat this 2 more times, so just like we did here, 2 more times. We tighten by pulling our tail end. We now chain 2, just like before. But now we need to finish our round, so we're going to slip stitch into the top stitch on this post. That would just be this V here. This V, which is at the top of this chain 3. So you remember that to start we chained 4, we slip stitched, and then we chain 3. This is that chain 3. So we go just into that top stitch. So we put 1 V and then the other. Yarn over, go through, and we just slip stitch. That is our start of our filled granny square. To start our next round, we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now what we do is we notice there's a hole behind us, this big hole from our chain 2 gap. We're going to place a double crochet here. This is because each corner is made up of 2 double crochets, a chain 2 and 2 double crochets. Our chain 3 counts as one of these double crochet posts. I'll explain it all when it becomes more clear. So for now, all we do is yarn over, go almost back on ourselves, into the hole that's just there, and we do a double crochet. So we yarn over, Okay, yarn over and yarn over. Then we're going to place double crochets into each of our stitches from before. A filled granny square requires double crochets into the double crochets from before. There are 3 of these, so we yarn over, go into our next stitch. You see this gap formed by this V, so the V on the top is our stitch. We simply just go into this gap. That's 1 double crochet. Into our next gap, which is the next, so we identify the next V, go into that next gap. Now what we do is we do that into our final gap. So our final stitch is a bit harder to identify, just because it doesn't have the post directly underneath. It's the post just to the side. So all we do is we've yarned over, and now we go into that next gap. So the next gap is the next V. This is our next V, this one right here. And you see there's a gap right underneath. This hole, this tiny hole, that is where we're going into, okay? So we go in there. Put your hook in. And we do our double crochet. So we currently have 5 double crochets. Technically we've only done 4, but remember the chain 3 post counts as a double crochet. I said that in our corners we do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, so let's do that right now. In our corner space, which is this big chain 2 gap, we do 2 double crochets. Okay, that's 2. Then we chain 2. And then we put another 2 double crochets in there. This we will do at every single corner. Okay, now what we do is we do exactly what we did before, which is we yarn over and go into our next stitch. Okay, and we do 3 of these, remember, because there are 3 posts from before. We go into that next gap. This one's harder to identify, but that's completely fine, we can still see it. All we want to do, just so it's clear, is put the V, one of the posts on, and then the other one. Okay, and that is just snugly there. And then yarn over, go through. This is a tighter hole, so a bit harder to get through, but you can still get through just fine. Yarn over first 2, yarn over last 2. Now we're at our corner. Remember at the corner, we do 2 double crochets. We chain 2, and we do 2 more double crochets. We continue the same pattern till the end. So I have done my whole round and we are at the end. So like before, what we're going to do is we're going to place 2 double crochets in our final gap. We've already done 2 before. This is when we started. I'll explain that again on the next round. But we do 2 double crochets like we've been doing all along to finish this corner. And so that's 1, and then now this is our second. And then we chain 2. Remember, we do this at every corner. And just like on our previous round, we slip stitch into the top stitch of our chain 3 from before. So that's the top V. Slip stitch, remember, you do not yarn over twice, just once. And then you go through. And that is our next round done. On the start of our next round, we are going to chain 3. We chain 3 at the start of each round. Like before, we're going to go into the previous gap. I mean, the gap we're currently at. It seems a bit previous, but it's literally the gap we're at. And we do 1 double crochet. Now, what is it we're doing here? I promised I'd explain it. This is the start of our corner, right? So these are the 2 double crochets in our corner. And like we just finished before, when we finish this round, we'll do 2 more double crochets and join them with a slip stitch. Alrighty, so let's continue. So we go into our next gap, which is just here. We yarn over and do our double crochet. And now there are obviously going to be more stitches to go into. So we went from 3 to 7. So we continue going through, going into each stitch. Next gap is here. This is our next V. We're at a corner. we do our 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and then we chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets into the same gap, 1 and 2. Then we continue. We go into this gap, this is our first stitch, and we'll continue around like we have done before. And just a reminder, in our final gap we still place the 2 double crochets, chain 2 and slip stitch into that first V here. And then you just keep repeating over and over again until you have the desired size of your square. I have done 2 more rounds and this is our square. It's super simple. If you want to know how to make a normal granny square, I will link the video down below and in the card just to the top right. Please do like the video, share it and do subscribe. We have a lot more content coming out soon. So thank you so much for watching and we'll see you next time. Bye!